Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. Bluegrass Trapper here. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. So, as a trapper, during the winter month, I'm extremely hard on my ATV. A lot of times during the winter, I ride her hard and put her up wet. You know, rough country to ride through, traps to check. I don't have a lot of time for maintenance during the winter month, and that's the hardest time of year to be riding it anyway, in my opinion, because you got frozen ground, rough ground, things like that. So, now that trapping season's over, I got some much needed maintenance to do to my four-wheeler here. So what I'm doing today is I'm going to be replacing the front wheel bearings. I'm going to replace the back ones too, but I had one of the front wheel bearings during trapping season was just completely wore out. It got me through the season, but it's high time to replace it. If I'm replacing one, I need to replace the other one. Because if I only replace that one and not the other one, then this one's going to go bad next, and I'll just keep up the cycle. So I'd rather have them new at the same time. The particular four-wheeler here is a BMS 4x4 400 ATV, which is a Japanese or Chinese put together four-wheeler. And when I went online to look at parts for it, I can't really find the company that sells parts for them. I got to looking and they look just like a Honda Foreman four-wheeler parts. Like the CDI box and all that stuff was Honda Foreman, plugged in perfect, fit, worked great. I ordered Honda Foreman wheel bearings for it, and the inside diameter of it, which I'll show y'all later, was a perfect fit, but the outside, the thickness of it was not. So now that I got the wheel bearing out on the other side already, so I was able to get a measurement on it, and what I wound up having to order for it was a, I think it's a Honda 4Trax 400 4x4. I found one on Amazon that had the measurements on it, so I got one that's going to fit now because the measurements of the one I took out, I was able to measure it. So sometimes on these four-wheelers, you might be better off just measuring the part after you get it out, then ordering it. So now I got to wait a couple days to get those in. But in the meantime, I'm going to take the wheel bearing out of this side, just like I did the other side, and I'm going to show y'all how I do that. And then when the wheel bearings come in, I'll reinstall them, and I'll show y'all how I do that myself. We're going to get to it. I'm going to get y'all set up, show you how I do that. Alright, so I hope I got this angle set up right where y'all can kind of see what I'm doing. I'll do my best on this. It's a DIY wheel bearings change. So first I'm going to take the tire off. 17mm fits this particular one. Alright, there's that out of the way. Now the next thing we got is a key right here, needle nose pliers. We're going to take that cotter key out. That's going to allow us to take that nut off, axle nut. That key out just like so. Now for the axle nut, 15/16. Now this is going to try to turn. So what I done on the other side, and I'm going to try it on this side. Actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. So I got to take the brake caliper off. Back here is right here. I got to take it off, and to take it off, there's two 10mm bolts in behind there. One at the top, one at the bottom. Just take them off, and this thing lifts out, sets back out of the way. Can't get a socket to it because where it's at, so what I got to do is take a wrench and just take that off. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Alright, now that I have these bolts out, two little 10mm, brake caliper, just lift right out of the way like that. Just let it hang down there or set it up on something. However you want to do it. Now the next thing, we done took the key out of this. We're going to take and try to break that loose. Now the other side was really hard to break loose, so I don't know how this side's going to be. But this brake disc right here has holes in it. So what I done on the other side is I stuck this Allen wrench through one of those holes. It barely fits, but I wanted it to fit tight anyway. And then it should allow you to break it loose. If that Allen wrench don't break on me. Yeah, this one's really tight too. I don't know, they made it really, really tight, so let's hope I can do this without breaking something. Alright, here we go. That's alright. Not as hard as the other side was. Once you got it broke loose, it should unscrew pretty easy. Get the axle nut off. Putting all the stuff in the coffee can so I know where it's at when I get new parts in. Now, this should lift right off like that. This side definitely looks better than the other side did. I still see some grease in here. But like I said, I want to replace both sides while I'm at it. Now the next thing you got to do on this, so you got 3 cotter keys to take off. One down here, one underneath this, and one underneath this joint right here. You gotta take those 3 keys out, and then unscrew those 3 nuts, and this whole shebang will lift off. Right. Now that I got those keys out, I gotta take the nuts off, and this one underneath here where the wrench is at, right here, is a little bit harder to get to because you can't get to it with a socket. It's between there and that piece, so just gotta take a wrench. It's not too hard to turn and unscrew that. You may not be able to get that one all the way off until you get this up some. I think it's number 18, but on the top you need a 15 millimeter to hold it, and you should be able to just unscrew it. I will tell you too, I don't claim to be a professional mechanic at all. I just like to do a lot of this stuff myself, so if you want to feel better with having a mechanic do it, by all means, have a mechanic do it. This one just lifts out the tie rod. A lot of times once you get those broke loose, it comes out pretty easy. There it is. Now, that just lifts down and comes off. This whole arm can move. Now we'll take a nut back off the top. The whole thing right here lifts off. The bearing's inside there. It has 2 rings that you gotta dig out. So we're gonna take it over to the bench, take it out, and then I'll knock that bearing out. Alright, instead of taking this over to the bench, I'm gonna try my luck getting those seals out. That's what I was trying to say earlier. It's got a seal on each side. I'm gonna try to get them out with a screwdriver. Don't want to be too rough digging in there with a screwdriver, but there's one of them. Right there. The new ones will come with new seals. And then I'm going to get the seal out on the other side. Hopefully the same way. Just make sure you're not scuffing up your metal when you dig in there with a flat screwdriver. The thinner the screwdriver you got, the better. There we go. Those seals fit in there tight. Like that. We got the seal out. I'll bend it with the screwdriver to get it out, but that's okay because I'm putting in a new one. It scuffed it up a little, but I can smoothen that right out. So now we have a ring holding that in. Whatever you call those, I don't even know. Like I say, I'm not a professional mechanic. I just do this crap. I done broke my thing here. My special wrench. Broke the tip off of it, and I don't have the right one for this particular job anyway. Alright, now I got it out. I wound up using the needle nose pliers. The holes were big enough in this one where I was able to do that. But if you got a specialty tool, which is what this is, but it wasn't strong enough for this. But it's one of them, whatchamacallit. Yeah. The new ones are going to come with new one clips like this too. Alright, now that clip's out, you can see the bearing right there. This one's not in horrible shape really, like the other one was, but we're still going to replace it. We don't went this far. Now it'll only go out one way. It goes in against something in there, so it won't go the other way. You can lay that down flat like that. Take you a big socket, put in there, and then hit it as square as you can. Knock that bearing out just like that. It's coming out. You can put it on a vise too and open the vise big enough to go around that, but I think I can get it with this. Bam. Now the bearing's out. Alright guys, that's all there was to it, taking the bearing out. That's what I was looking for right there, this bearing right here. So the inside hole for this particular four-wheeler is 30 millimeters. The outside is 50. The thickness is 20. 20, 30, 50 is what you got on this bearing. And that's how I was able to order the right one. This one's not in horrible shape. It's actually not bad, but like I said, since I replaced one side, I'm going to replace the other side, because if you only replace one side and that wheel's doing this number and wobbling when you're driving, you get on slopes, and which I drive on a lot. If that other side hadn't got much support, it's going to put more on the good bearing. So if you're doing both at the same time, they'll both be sturdy. And I might put this one back for a spare since it's still in pretty good shape. But all I'm going to do now is clean this out real good on the inside there, and where the seals go on each side, and make sure it's ready when I get the new bearing, and then I can reinstall it, be good to go. Y'all stay tuned. Alright y'all, it's been a couple days for me, split second for y'all. I got my bearing in, it's the right size, and I'm going to bring it over here on the floor in front of the camera so that y'all can see what I'm doing. I'm going to put this back in. Alright, so here's the bearing. I checked it, make sure it's the right one. It's the right one. I'm doing this here on the concrete floor because it's a good hard surface, and I got my bench full of crap over there. But anyway, so here's the bearing. We're going to put it right back in there where it was at, start with. And to do that, first thing we're going to do is only go in on this side. It won't go in on this side because you'll see it won't fit. It's only got, it has a stopper in there. It only goes to that lip. Make sure that's all nice and cleaned out, which I already did. Lay the bearing on top of this. Try to start it in there square. It's going to fit really tight. Not going to be able to push it in there by hand, probably not. Well, I might be able to push it partially down. I have this magnet that I found in here. Fits right on top of that, and it's going to stay there. So like that. I'm going to take this rubber mallet and hit it nice and square. Drive that bearing in there. And it's supposed to fit tight like that. I'm going to put something nice and big on top of that bearing so it don't hurt it when you drive it in there. I believe it's all the way in. Try to get if there's any dirt on top of that bearing, clean it off real good. You don't want that stuff to get through the seals and in there and mess up your bearing. Fits in there just like that. And then there's a clip we got to put in there on top of it. Alright, now maybe y'all can see better what I'm doing here. So this clip right here, got a groove on the inside of that bearing, there, or inside of this housing. Make sure that bearing's in there nice and good. Then I don't have the right tool for this clip, but sometimes a real small needle nose pliers will work, as long as you can get a hold of it. Squeeze that together. Perfect. That's going to hold that bearing in there in place. The other side has a lip that goes against, can't come out. Anyway, now, the next thing, seals go in there just like the bearing did. Oh, that's the wrong one for this side. There's one bigger one, one smaller one. They only fit on the right sides that they're supposed to be at. Get it in there, try to start it nice and even as possible. You can take a hammer or a mallet. And just work them in there. And guys, I know this job might seem a little intimidating to some people if you're not used to doing mechanic work, but I promise you, if an old fart like me can do it, anybody can do it. I didn't grow up working on stuff like this. I grew up working on whatever tears up, but I didn't have stuff like this to work on when I was growing up. So I just learned it as I go. I was always curious of how things work and how things function, and so best way to figure that out is working on them. Once you figure out how something's supposed to work, you can do anything you want to with it, as long as you set your mind to it. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. This other seal goes right here on the back side. Same thing, we're going to try to start it as even as we can. Now this one got this rubber lip, so I can't directly hit it with the hammer, or I don't want to. So I'm going to take a dull screwdriver. Don't want nothing that's going to poke a hole in it. And just tap around it. Keep going around and around till you get it down there flush, or a little more than flush. Tap her on in there. Once you got it in there, the rubber seal, bearing in the middle, we're ready to go back on. I'll stay tuned. Alright, so we're back down here. Got our piece with our bearing in it. We're going to put it back on just the way we took it off. First thing I'm going to do, get that on there. Try to fish that hole right here in the top. I'm hoping y'all can see this and I got the right angle here, where y'all can kind of make out what I'm doing at least. Now, if you remember, I had all my nuts and bolts inside this coffee can. Just dump them right there so I can get to them. And I'm going to start that top one on before I push this up, because you ain't got much room in there to work with. Just barely going to have enough room to start that nut on. That's the one that's a little hard to get to. Definitely had it worse. Alright, so let's start it right on there. Get that snug, not tight, like that. Now, do the bottom one the same way. Bring this arm up, hook right into that, start this nut on. And then we got the tie rod end right here, right down through there. Got all them started on there. Tighten this top one up first, what I'm going to do, since this is the hardest one to get to. Now, I do apologize if y'all can't see what's going on exactly, but just like it was when I took them off, you got one down here, one under here, and then a tie rod end one. This top one's the only one that's aggravating to get to. All the rest of these are easy peasy. Just get them bottom ones with a ratchet. I think it's 18. Of course, the tie rod end, you're going to have to hold it with a 15 on top. Going to make all them good and tight. They don't need to be loose at all. Then we're going to put keys in them. Okay, I got my 3 bolts on, cotter keys in, one underneath there, right there. And now I'm ready for the next step. We're going to put this piece back on. Just goes right in here. Should go on pretty snug, pretty easy. That's what goes into the bearing right there. Felt it slip in there just perfect. Put our axle nut back on there. Here it is. Remember, I had to stick something through there to get this so it wouldn't turn on me. So I'm sure I'm going to have to do the same thing again to tighten it up. Or that's what I've done anyway. I may not be using the proper tools, but as long as it gets the job done correctly when it's finished, that's all I'm worried about. I had that quite tight, so I'm going to make it tight. That should do it. Now, before I changed the bearing, especially on the other side, there was a lot of play right here. This side was still good. Now the only play it has is just the tie rod end here. I might eventually replace those tie rod ends, but then there's a key that goes down through here too. We're just doing everything in reverse order, the way I took it out. And this key keeps the nut from getting loose or turning. Next step, put a brake caliper back on. See if we can just push those brake pads far enough apart, fit back on this disc. It's like that. Should have two 10 millimeters to go in the back. Tighten them babies up, and we're ready to put the tire back on. Alright, caliper's all tightened up. Everything feels nice and solid. Put the wheel back on it. Job well done. Like I say, I know this is not my typical kind of videos I do, but for me, where I do my own maintenance, this is also part of the shit I do. Part of trapping, basically. I may not be out there catching animals always, but keeping the machines up and fixing them is part of it for me. And like I said, if I can do it, anybody can. Just set your mind to it. Not that big a job, really, to do these wheel bearings. And if I was a betting man, I would say they probably hadn't never been done since four-wheeler was new. It's 2011, which it's set for a few years, but. Alright, that's that. Job well done. Wheels nice and sturdy. Got brand new bearings. It should last a long time. Hope it helped someone out that's thinking about changing the bearings in your four-wheeler. Next, I'm just going to do the back ones. If y'all want me to do a video on when I do the back ones, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I probably won't film it. Until next time, appreciate y'all stopping by.